We're going to have a special guest today who's going to help us understand how Toastmasters can actually shape or even boost our career growth. Today, our guest speaker is DTM Rupinder Singh. DTM Rupinder is a seasoned training professional with more than 2 decades of experience in training and development. He's also a twice distinguished Toastmaster. He said, in fact, he's almost thrice a DTM. Available in Toastmasters program. It takes years to become a DTM, and he has done it twice or almost thrice. In August 2018, Rupinder represented his district the World Championship of Public Speaking at Chicago, where he stood second in semifinals. For those who know what ISC is, it's a World Championship of Public Speaking, where across the world about 5,000 or so participants battle it out and reach the final place. And the person who wins that becomes the international world champion of public speaking. Rupinder also holds a diploma in training and development from Indian Society of Training and Development. It's a government accredited institution. Rupinder specializes in e-learning, instructional design, behavioral, and leadership training. He also has experience in mobile learning, virtual classrooms, and learning management system. Please welcome, with a huge round of applause, virtually, DTM Rupinder Singh.
Maybe I should start coming more to these meetings because you get to hear so many good things about you. And that right there is the first thing that you should admire about Toastmasters. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rupinder. And almost everything that he said about me is kind of true, except for the part that I'm a wonderful speaker. I want to take you back to 2009. I was at the lunch table in my organization. And being an introvert, I usually like to lunch alone or with maximum 1 or 2 people. The last person I want to be having lunch with is my manager or my leader. And the last person I wanted to have lunch with came to me smiling, his plate in his hand. Free? Now, there are times when you want to say no, but he's your manager. You can't say no. Go ahead. Oh, I'm eating all this fine. Oh. So it sits down. And gradually, the conversation veers towards career and what do you want to do and this and that. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he says, have you heard about Toastmasters? I'm like, oh, it's an organization. It helps you improve your communication and leadership skills. I think you should join Toastmasters. What? I should join Toastmasters. He said, yeah, because it will help me improve my communication skills. Yeah. And leadership skills. Yeah. Just to put things in context, I was heading the instructional design team in a Fortune 300 organization. Communication was the bread in my bread and butter. And here I have somebody telling me that there is something wrong with my communication skills. Obviously, I took that. Communication? Seriously? I mean, I consider myself an epitome of the best communication ever. I mean, how do I write learning content so that the other people can understand? How would you say that I'm not a good communicator? My leader listened to me very patiently. He said, I'm not saying that you're not a good communicator. I'm just saying that you can be a better communicator. I said, that is what the language you use when you don't want to give a person a promotion. You say, yeah, you're good, but you can be better. He said, here is the thing. I'm going to ask you a question. Can you speak like you can write an email? Again, I'm going to repeat this question to you. He asked me, can you speak like you can write an email? Now, how many of you, show of hands, understood that question? Okay, Nuha understands it. Anyone else who understood it? Okay. Umar understands it. Jagdish understands it. Well, folks, I must say that you are more intelligent than I am. You're smarter than I am, because at that point, I did not understand. Then he had to explain it to me. He said that when you write an email, you have so many options. You can edit that email. You can choose not to send it. You can choose who to send it to or who not to send it to. And worst case worst, you can recall that email. But the spoken word, once it leaves your mouth, then it has left your mouth and there is nothing you can do. You know, the worst feeling in the world, you would say that the worst feeling in the world is losing all the money you've got or losing somebody who loved you a lot. But I will tell you, the worst feeling in the world is when your boss comes uninvited to your lunch table and says something that makes sense, to which you do not have an answer. Obviously, I did not have an answer to that. So I said, I will join Toastmasters tomorrow. He said, no, actually, you will join Toastmasters yesterday. I really admired the guy. He actually thought that I could go back in time, make a change. That did not happen. I did not join Toastmasters yesterday. I did not join it today. I did not join it tomorrow or the next week or the next month or the next year. Until in 2015, I finally joined Toastmasters. Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, very distinguished guests, not one day passes when I don't kick myself as to what I was doing for all those 6 years. Why? To answer that, you will have to bear with me for yet another story. And this story relates to another life that I used to live a long time back. When, like many of you, I was into this thing called web development and programming, and I used to write code. I used to program entire websites. Now, those were the days when .com had just made its appearance in India. Some of you would not have been born. I'm talking about the period 1996 to 2000. Or you would have been very young, but I was there when internet first made its appearance in India, when we learned about this thing called HTML, and I came into contact with this thing called Perl. I don't even know if you guys know what Perl is. It's P-E-R-L and not P-E-A-R-L. It stands for Practical Extraction Reporting Language. And then there was something called PHP, and there was something called MySQL, and you are in Oracle, you would know what MySQL is. There was something called Java. Again, you are in Oracle, you would know what Java is as well. And I was heavily into it. I gained some level of expertise. When I said that I programmed entire websites, I gained a certain level of expertise. I did consider myself an expert. In fact, there came a time when I started to fancy myself as a little bit of a web developer. But you know, I've been a teacher, a trainer all my life. And somewhere around 2003, I found my true calling. After meandering in various domains, such as software development and web development, customer relationship management, and IT infrastructure management of all things. From 1995 to 2003, for about 8 years, I meandered. And then I came to my true calling, which was training and development, specifically a branch called instructional design. And as I started working on instructional design, about developing e-learning content, about writing content, I slowly meandered away from web development and things like PHP and Java and MySQL and Perl, JavaScript. Everything started becoming a distant dream. It was like that place that you had left behind. Yes, I used to live there, but now this was my world. And that was 2003. In 2010, I chanced upon web development again. A friend of mine living out of United Arab Emirates, asked me if I could manage his website. I said, sure, why not? How difficult it can be. Now, anyone who's spent 7 years away from technology knows the answer to how difficult it can be. And I will tell you, there was that little voice inside my head that told me, stop and think. If I am horrible at words leaving my mouth and me trying to get them back in, I'm even more horrible at listening. Or at least I will say I was. I did not listen to that inner voice. I accepted the advance that my friend offered. And then I realized that I was up against a monster. Because every technology that I had learned 7 years back was miles away from what it was today. For those of you in technology, HTML no longer used tables. Earlier, I would position elements using tables, but now suddenly there was this monster called cascading style sheets. Perl was no longer in fashion, obsolete. PHP, something that I took a certification in, it had completely changed. I could not recognize it. And I don't even want to tell you what happened to Java. The language that I once loved, the language I love to write applets, applications. It was no longer that friendly interface. In fact, it had become so complicated. I kind of realized that it's not these technologies. It's not the HTML that has become difficult. It is not the Java that has become convoluted. It is not MySQL. By the way, MySQL had become a paid product by then, which was available for free. It's not that. It's me. I got left behind. And it was an uphill struggle that continued for the next 2 years. And it ended on a rather acrimonious note because I was not able to deliver at all. Now, 7 years away from technology. You can imagine what that can do to a career. But here is the thing. The one thing that sustained through all these 7 years were certain skills I picked up when I was programming. You want to know what those skills are? Skills like negotiation. Skills like taking a call with a client. Skills like interviewing. Skills like communication. About giving and receiving feedback. About leadership. About writing the correct email. About phone etiquette. About empathy. About emotional intelligence. And many other words that seems to be the jargon that is used in the soft skills training industry today. But the thing is, these skills, they did not come with a version. There was no such thing as emotional intelligence 1.0. And now that we are dealing with emotional intelligence 5.0, no, there was nothing like that. It was all built upon your experience. And here's the thing. I could not recognize Java because it had advanced. Is that the truth? Actually, no. I could not understand Java because I had never practiced it. But these skills, negotiating, communication, leadership, we practice them day in, day out. Selling, making a pitch, elevator pitches, presentations. We do them day in, day out. Now, what if there was a platform that allowed you to do this? And that too, at a cost of less than what you would spend on a movie in a cinema hall. I don't know how much a cinema hall ticket costs today, but back in the day when I used to go watch movies and Netflix was not around, two people going to watch a movie at a cinema hall easily meant that you would end up spending close to 1,000 to 1,500 rupees. The tickets themselves would cost somewhere around 400, 500 bucks. And then there was popcorn and Pepsi. And obviously, you could get them outside for less than 50 rupees. But for some reason, inflation took over inside the cinema hall. And you would have to spend about 1,000 bucks. Why 1,000 bucks? Because you would never watch a movie alone. And it would seem rude if you were eating alone. Although I have done that, to be honest. My wife was not very happy the day I did that. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you probably spent something like 1,000 bucks on movies, maybe more than that on clubbing. In my days, when I used to go clubbing, discotheques would charge something like 1,200 to 1,500 rupees. I don't know how much they charge now, maybe 2,000, 2,500. I don't know. Or if they are even open these days. But what if I told you that for 550 rupees, give or take, you will get to learn each of the skills that you need. Skills like speaking in public, skills like communication, how to give and receive feedback, how to speak impromptu, and do not underestimate the value of speaking impromptu. I remember I got into an elevator and there was my CEO standing right next to me, and he was tall, literally and figuratively. And when I say literally, he literally looked down upon me like this. And then he asked me, which team? Believe me, that was my answer. To the CEO of an organization, that was my answer. If I had known Toastmasters then, I probably would have made a career-altering answer that day. And that is what Toastmasters does to you. You will not believe it, but ever since I took up Toastmasters, I have seen a huge difference in the way I communicate. And I'll give you an example. A friend of mine lives in Chandigarh. He has an immigration agency. He helps people migrate to Canada and Australia and a lot of other places. And then if you go to Chandigarh and Punjab, you will find that there is this examination called IELTS. It's actually IELTS, but due to accent variations, they tend to call it IELTS. And he asked me that if I could take part in IELTS, because I kept on saying Toastmasters, Toastmasters, Toastmasters so much, that he asked me, why don't you give IELTS? And once you give IELTS, if you clear it, I will pay your fees. If you don't, you pay on your own. I said, sure. We together looked up a date and it was happening 3 weeks later. I said, fine, sign me up. He made the payment. I had just come back from Chicago. Now, IELTS has 4 different examinations. There is speaking, there is writing, there is listening, and speaking, writing, reading, and listening. In the speaking test, you're supposed to give a one-to-one interview to a person. I walked into the interview room and there is this person sitting there. She asked me, before I get started, she hadn't started recording yet. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? I said, well, I'm a Toastmaster, a distinguished Toastmaster at that. Recently, I represented my district at the World Championship of Public Speaking. I was one of the 3 people to represent my country. And I stood second in the semifinals. By the way, in that Chicago semifinal, A person who answers to the name of Deepak Justin, I'm pretty sure that's a very well-known name around here. He also stood second, and we became very good friends. But in that interview, she forgot to turn on the recorder, and we spoke for about half an hour about Toastmasters. And then she took my interview, which was more of a formality. I got a score of 8 across all the 4 tests without any preparation whatsoever. That is the difference that Toastmasters makes to you. Now, if you have plans to immigrate to Canada, I would say take up Toastmasters, but I know that your plans are way bigger than that. So before I close, I will have only one thing to say to you all. Do not make the mistake that I did. What mistake? I'm not saying that if your boss comes around to your lunch table, find another table. But when he tells you to join Toastmasters yesterday, or when somebody tells you to join Toastmasters yesterday, you join Toastmasters yesterday. You don't wait for tomorrow or day after, or a week or a month or a year. And you definitely don't wait 6 years. And that is what I said. Do not make the same mistake I did, because your technical skills will prepare you for your next promotion, your next job. But these softer skills, they will prepare you for a career. So if any one of you has any doubts about joining Toastmasters, take it from me. Join Toastmasters, because it will not only change your life, it will help you change life, change lives. And that, my friends, is the word of a Toastmaster. Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your life journey with us. And I'm pretty sure that everybody would have got something out of it. For me, the thing that deal of joining Toastmasters happened with me as well. I got to know about a Toastmaster in a club, in a company. I took 3 years to join, and I regret why I did that. And I think I can make totally sense with what you said, that each day, in each week in Toastmasters help us grow leaps and bounds. All the skills which are pretty critical in career, we can learn them every week. Thank you so much again. Is there any questions anybody wants to ask about anything? You can just write about it, or if you want to speak, you can also speak about it. Anyone?
Seema, I want to ask.
Sure, go ahead. Yes,
so my question is only one thing, that how to become a very good orator like you.
Okay, first of all, I don't think I'm a good orator.
No, okay.
And the second thing, in order to become a good orator, I often tell people that if you join swimming classes, you will never learn swimming if you will sit by the poolside, okay, and watch other people swim. The only way to learn swimming is to get inside that pool. Experience what drowning is, and then experience what surviving a drowning is. Because once you do that, you will become very confident. For the record, I've never learned swimming. I never dared to leave I got into the water, but I never dared to leave the side. But when you come to Toastmasters, or when you get a speaking opportunity, then that stage is your swimming pool. And you will have the same symptoms when you go on that stage. You will be out of breath. You will be gasping for air. They say public speaking is one of the most difficult things in the world. It is. But nobody understands why. It is difficult because out there in that swimming pool, under the water, until somebody notices you, you are on your own. It is up to you to survive. It's the same thing on the stage. except there is no lifeguard around. You fumble on words, you have to figure a way out. The stage will always put up a fight. You have to fight back. Because otherwise, forget about becoming a good orator. You will not even get the courage to speak. So, short and succinct answer, every time the stage calls, you answer. If you're given a table topic, you answer. You don't understand a table topic, you answer. You don't have a speech ready. You prepare a speech, you go deliver a speech. Because the stage will mock you otherwise, and you cannot let it mock you. You cannot let the stage win. You cannot let the swimming pool win. Because beyond the swimming pool, there is an ocean. And who knows what lies beyond the stage. I hope that answers your question. I see Rohit raising his hand
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
Nandan.
Sir, my question is, it's around 8 years for you to be a part of Toastmasters. So what drives you to still be a part of Toastmasters? Because I have seen many people who gets, that motivation gets exhausted after 3 to 4 years. So what is that thing which is still driving you to be a part of Toastmasters, and how we can promote that to our ex-members? That's my question.
Okay, I'll answer your question in citing two instances. Are you a Toastmaster, Rohit? First of all,
Yes.
do you have a club mentor? Are you assigned a mentor by your club?
Yes.
Rohit, you don't know how lucky you are. I was not assigned a mentor because the organization where I worked for, it was a financial services organization. There were huge checks and balances as to who could come in and who could go out, and they would certainly not entertain a person coming in from outside and trying to coach me. By all means, I should have left that organization, but there were people who came together to help me, unofficial mentors. Now, every time I feel that something is not working out, I simply remember those three people, the way they stood up for me. I believe that I owe it to the people who look up to me to stand up for them. One of my mentors said that never look down upon those who look up to you. And that is one driving force. The other one, I found that inspiration just a few months ago. Her name is Deanna McInroy. She is specially abled. She is not able to speak. But that does not stop her from doing what she can. She'll come into a meeting, she'll type out a table topic painstakingly. She'll do an hour counter roll. She can't tell you how many hours you uttered, but she will, with a remarkable degree of accuracy, type out Rupinder, hours 5 and 6. And it will come after each performance relentlessly. Now, if she can find an inspiration to be in Toastmasters, I think that we should not even be looking for inspiration. We should, in fact, be inspiration to others. Hope that answers your question.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, DTM Rupinder sir. It was really inspiring. I had just one question though. What was your learning curve when you went till World Cup? The World Champion semi-finals. How was your learning curve when you compare it to the first speech that you have given to the semi-final speech? How was it, and what?
196. I wrote my speech 196 times. 196 times. I gave my speech for the first time on the 3rd of February 2018. I remember it because I was invited and I just worked up a speech there and then. I last gave my speech on 23rd of August 2018. But between those 7 months, I had written my speech 196 times, which means I was writing my speech 28 times every month, which means that I was writing almost every day. Put it in numbers, 196. I hope that helps.
That answers, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Deshant.
Hi, hey Rupinder. Hi.
How
So
are you?
I have the pleasure of seeing you in person. In Just Dave Jaspal's club, and I remember you very closely. So I joined Toastmasters 6 years back, and three months, like after 6 years of break, I joined as a corporate club, and I got elected as a president.
6
of
years, huh?
KPMG.
Sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
So I wanted to know. I got elected as the president for the next term, and I was really hoping to drive the membership, members being more active, and they taking not taking smaller roles, auxiliary roles as for granted, and not just giving being table topic master or the facilitator roles. And even at times, even the facilitator roles, they end up speaking more than facilitating. They take it as a speaking opportunity. So constructive feedback, any word on how to be very constructive evaluator and not intimidate anyone while helping them?
Well, I have a structure for evaluations. I say that when you're giving a commendation, you tell them what you saw. You give them an example of what you saw. So if somebody has a good stage movement, excellent stage movement, example, saw you move from left to right, creating a virtual timeline, and you're learning from it. That is the art of giving a commendation. Very quickly, giving a recommendation. There are 4 things. First, what you saw, the observation. Second, an example of what you saw. Third, the impact of what if it is not corrected. And fourth, a way forward. Because 9 times out of 10 people are not looking for criticism, they are looking for a way out. But if you are going there with an intent to just rave and rant, then you're not really giving feedback. What you want to do is give them a way out, suggest them that, listen, you can try this. And once they get that, they'll get a sense of direction, even if it may not be the best direction, but at least they'll find their feet. I don't know how much that answers your question, but that's how I would go.
It does. I mean, rectification is equally important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone?
Yes, sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How can I improve my public speaking and leadership skills through Toastmasters, sir?
Are you a Toastmaster yet?
Yes, sir.
Well, then you've come to the right place. I will only tell you this. Find a mentor. Never miss a meeting. Try never missing a meeting. If you're going to miss a meeting, then set yourself a target of attending at least 1 meeting in a week, even if it is only as a spectator, because you will get to learn so many things. That's all that I can tell you. I get some of my speech ideas by just sitting and listening to speeches or table topics. That is where I get my speech ideas from. So
Okay,
just be consistent and just be committed. I think the red card is up. We're going to run out of time. Natasha has my contact details. If you feel like getting in touch, do get in touch. Thank you so very much. It was an enjoyable session. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But I certainly did enjoy it. Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.